Yeah, well, the SEC in the US has had a strategy of regulation by enforcement, and it sued major exchange Coinbase in June, alleging it was operating as an unregistered exchange or broker. What does this ruling with XRP mean for the entire crypto industry? And could Coinbase now win because of this precedent?
Well, I think for Coinbase, that's probably a distinctly separate matter. But what is important is that we finally have a line in the sand, if you like. We finally have a ruling from all of these different court cases that are now, publicly aired, that will give some degree of clarity to the US. I think that's probably the important distinction to make here. While unquestionably the US market is significant in any way you cut it, whether it's in traditional finance or cryptocurrency or any other matter, it is of significance. But for us here in Australia, we're still pending our own regulatory kind of clarity around each of these different issues. But for those in the US, as I say, looking at how the SEC, as you have described, have come out with that regulation through enforcement, what this court case does do is it creates further momentum and further pressure on the regulators and legislators in the US to come to the table. There's been a number of different, both bipartisan and single senators pushing forward bills and issues of reform around cryptocurrency to their respective senates and legislative bodies. They've all been kind of rebuffed, but now I think there's definitely, on the back of this case, a clear need for the legislators to step up and stop passing the buck, if you like, onto those regulatory bodies. So it's going to be, for us here in Australia, really significant. For those of us in cryptocurrency, incredibly significant to see where this goes, and adds then, as I say, to that momentum both in the US and here at home around getting that legislative clarity.
Just finally, I'll get you to get your crystal ball out for me if you don't mind. Ripple intends to use XRP for cross-border settlements. How likely is it that XRP becomes the #1 cryptocurrency now that it does have a bit more legal clarity in the US compared to others?
Yeah, well, I don't know necessarily if it's going to be the #1, but certainly looking at the breakdown, I mean, right now as it stands, the big two are Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think Ethereum has about 20% of the market, and Ethereum and Bitcoin on any good day is probably between 45 to 50% of the market. So they are two behemoths still that need to, there's going to be a long way to go. But XRP generally comes in around #3 in terms of trading volume, in and around one of the better known stable coins. So we're still in the foothills when it comes to use cases and kind of the development around the use cases of each of these different tokens. But as somebody who used to work in banking, I can appreciate the issues around interbank transfers, overnight bank transfers, FX transfers, the delays that are kind of baked into those systems. But using something like an XRP token or others certainly gives you a lot around speed and a lot around transparency, which I think is the primary use case that Ripple have put forward with XRP. And full disclosure, we're one of the Ripple partners here for their on-demand liquidity program here in Australia. So I do have a horse in the race for transparency purposes. But yes, no, I do think that it just really illustrates the benefits of blockchain technology and the speed, the transparency, low cost. There's an awful lot there that's worth exploring, both for traditional finance and for potentially crypto investors.